We've finished studying section 93 of the Doctrine and Covenants, and we're moving on to this week will be section 94 through 97. And I haven't looked at or really studied much of this. I did start recording section 94 yesterday, study session, but got interrupted, and so I took it to today. Hi, how are you? This is Jeff Downs. Welcome to the Streaking the Scriptures podcast, where we study the Scriptures together. I don't prepare beforehand in regards to what I'm going to share. I just am basically like I got up, and right now we're almost afternoon. We're still in the morning, but get up and study the Scriptures with you. Just see how it goes. I really enjoy it because it's an opportunity for me to express some of the thoughts and feelings I have, all about application. We can go into, we go into a little bit of what the history or context might be. Mostly, though, I'm looking for what is it that the Lord wants me to learn, and how do I need to apply it to improve my life in such a way that I'm following Him with full purpose of heart. You know, it's interesting right now at this time in our life, Jamie and I are making some significant decisions as to our future, and we have had lively conversations in regards to our future. And some of the scriptures that we've been studying have really helped to guide those conversations, which is one of the reasons why I like to just talk with you as regards to the scriptures, is because they are such an important guide to life and how we can work with our life. There's the stories of the saints, as well as those who lived in the New Testament, Old Testament, and the Book of Mormon, that can help guide and direct us in the ways we need to go to be more like Christ, and to know how we can best serve Him in His kingdom on the earth today. Section 94 is revelation given through Joseph Smith the prophet at Kirtland, Ohio, August 2nd, 1833. Hiram Smith, Reynolds Cahoon, and Jared Carter are appointed as a church building committee. My first thought is this: with how many buildings the church is building today, chapels, temples, universities, colleges, business centers all over the world, I can see how the church building committee, that this was the start of something that was important and is important today. I used to call on the one particular department of the church when I was in sales. I actually sold crash bars, and there are a lot of crash bars in churches. If you ever want to know the history of the crash bar, I can give it to you. I won't do that now, but it is one that I guess, let's put it this way, it saves lives because of what the crash bar does. Well, I called on, I believe it was the 10th floor of the church headquarters office building for quite some time, and I could see how important this building committee was. Now, let me just say this. The question that I have in my mind is, how come the Lord is interested in our buildings? In other words, what is it about this program that's important to move the work forward? I don't know if we'll get that through this section, but it is a question that I've had, and probably you may have had too. And there are some answers to that question that you might look at and say, well, that's easy, Jeff. There's a lot of great answers to that question. And some of you may be like, I don't know why we build so many buildings. What's their purpose? What purpose do they serve? And how do they help? Let's read a little bit, and I'll go into those questions and see if we can find some answers here. Verse 1, and again, verily I say unto you, my friends. Isn't that nice to have the Lord reference each one of us, or each reference Hiram, Reynolds Cahoon, Jared Carter as friends? To be a friend of the Lord, that means that I will be loyal to Him when the times get rough, and I know that He has my back. It may not turn out the way that I think it might turn out, but it will always turn out for what is best for me in my life. Love to be a friend of the Lord. A commandment I give unto you. So here we have, not only are they friends, but now they're going to get a commandment. This has the feel of a 10 Commandments type commandment, right? I'm going to give you a commandment. I give unto you that ye shall commence a work of laying out and preparing a beginning and foundation of the city of the stake of Zion, here in the land of Kirtland, beginning at my house. So the temple, I don't know if it was plotted out at this point or if the space was reserved for it. I don't even know. I don't think it was under construction just yet. I'd have to look and see when the Kirtland temple. When was the Kirtland temple started? Let's just see what that has to say. Kirtland temple. Let's see here. June 1833. So this is, okay, August. So yeah, so the temple was underway. In December 1832, Joseph Smith received the revelation known as Doctrine and Covenants 88, which included the command to build a house of God. That's verses 119 through 120. On June 1, 1833, another revelation, now Doctrine and Covenants section 95, coming up right here, specifically commanded the saints to begin construction immediately and gave instruction about the design. Work started shortly thereafter in June 1833. Okay. So June 1833, we've got this. Start at the house, lay out Kirtland, and behold, verse 2, it must be done according to the pattern which I have given you. I wonder what that pattern is. I have a reference over here to 2a. Well, there's several here. There's Hebrews chapter 8, verse 5, Doctrine and Covenants 52:14, 95:14, 97:10, 115:14, 14 through 16. And that's all under 2a, which is the pattern which I shall show. I'm curious about the one in Hebrews 8:5. I'm just going to turn over to that in the Bible here. Hebrews 8:5. This is an interesting one. So look at, all right, because in Hebrews you've got that great lecture on faith in Hebrews chapter 12. All right, I'm getting there. Hang in there with me. All right. And almost there. I have new scriptures, and so getting the page, you know how the pages are kind of staticky in between? And so flipping the pages and getting to the place where you want to be. There it is. Hebrews, and what was that? Hebrews 8:5. 8:5. All right. The chapter heading for Hebrews 8 is Christ offered himself as sacrifice for sin. God promised to make a new covenant with Israel. Who serve unto the... I'm going to start in verse 4 because verse 5, it doesn't seem like it gives me... I need a little context. For if he were on earth, he should not be a priest, seeing that there are priests that offer gifts according to the law. I got to go further than that. Let's just start at verse 1. Now of the things which we have spoken, this is the sum. We have such an high priest who is set on the right hand of the throne of the majesty in the heavens. So we're talking about Christ here. A minister of the sanctuary and of the true tabernacle, which the Lord pitched and not man. For every high priest is ordained to offer gifts and sacrifices. Wherefore it is of a necessity that this man have somewhat also to offer. For if he were on earth, he should not be a priest, seeing that there are priests that offer gifts according to the law, who serve unto the example and shadow of heavenly things, as Moses was admonished of God when he was about to make the tabernacle for, See, saith he, that thou make all things according to the pattern shewed to thee in the mount. The Lord here, so there's something significant about having a pattern. And you know, as I think on this, a framework, a pattern, something by which to operate, the pattern of the Lord's house, it's laid out in a very specific way, according to the pattern shewed thee in the mount. The Lord is showing Moses how the tabernacle should be laid out. He's showing the prophet Joseph Smith how the Kirtland temple should be laid out. So that would tend that today the way temples are laid out are according to the pattern the Lord has shown the prophet. And the Lord cares about the pattern. As we look at and as I apply this to my life, we look at the pattern of our lives. What patterns are we following? And what is a pattern? A pattern is a repeatable process. Sometimes you can call it a routine. What is that pattern? It's a routine that I do on a daily basis. I follow the pattern. If things are laid out and done in a specific way, we've got pattern, for example, I talked to you about this. We studied this a little bit when we're talking about the pattern of our daily priorities. What does that pattern look like? How are we following it? In Jacob chapter 2, we've got the pattern that the Lord looks for. We also have, seek me early, you'll find me. But there's this pattern that happens. Now, let's follow this cross-reference. I want to follow this cross-reference a little bit more. So 5c in Hebrews chapter 8, 5c, it takes us to Acts 7:44. So let's go back to Acts here. All right. Sometimes too far. All right. So what did I say? Acts 7:44. All right. What does that look like? Okay. So I'll bet you we get another little pattern here. Our fathers had the tabernacle of witness in the wilderness, as he had appointed, speaking unto Moses, that he should make it according to the fashion that he had seen. So the Lord showed him the fashion that he had seen. I guess the reason I'm pausing on this, and one of the things that's making me think about this is, does the Lord really care that much about how a building is laid out? And the obvious answer to that is it's got to be yes, because he's got all of these references. I mean, just the 2 or 3 that we had here, that he actually showed those who had the responsibility what pattern or how that building should be laid out. If we go to the Lord, do you think that he will show us the pattern that we should follow? I mean, I know I just talked a little bit about that, but is there more of a pattern that I haven't seen yet, that if I go to the Lord and ask, what pattern should I follow? What should be the pattern of my life? Will he give that to us? The pattern which I have given unto you. Let's continue in section 94, verse 3. And let the first lot on the south be consecrated unto me for the building of a house for the presidency, for the work of the presidency in obtaining revelations, and for the work of the ministry of the presidency in all things pertaining to the church and kingdom. First presidency's office said that it needs to happen. The Lord, there's just something important about buildings being set apart for a place for specific people with specific responsibilities to gather. So this brings up an interesting question. With COVID of late, we have the workplace that was basically put back, or I don't know about put back, but moved to the home. Because of COVID, no one was going into offices. They were all working from home, doing video conferencing, but all from home. And then after COVID, and we've now been a few years after that, we have where employers are asking employees to return to the office. Is there something significant about that? Is there something that is a divine type principle that is applied in a way that we can, do the work that we're called to do? Because here we have a building set apart specifically for the first presidency. Can each one of us now work in our home and be able to contact individuals, have face-to-face meetings like we're having here? I think so. But there is something about having a building set apart. Verily, I say unto you, this is verse 4, that it shall be built 55 by 65 feet in the width thereof and in the length thereof in the inner court. And there shall be a lower court and a higher court, according to the pattern which shall be given unto you hereafter. And it shall be dedicated unto the Lord from the foundation thereof, according to the order of the priesthood, according to the pattern which shall be given unto you hereafter. And it shall be wholly dedicated unto the Lord for the work of the presidency. All right, now I have no idea what this is talking about as far as there shall be a lower court and a higher court according to the pattern which shall be given you hereafter. Let's see if we can get a little bit more information on this. So this is section 94 verses, let's see here, 5 and 6. What is the upper, what is it, the upper or the inner? The inner court. There shall be a lower court and a higher court. No, what is the lower court and higher court? Let's see what we get back on that one. It says, 5 and 6. Let's see here. Wait, that's not about the courts. Let's clarify. Context, Doctrine and Covenants 94. The Lord is giving instruction on building houses for the work of the presidency, of the high priesthood, and the printing press. When, it's kind of interesting because this is 94, 5 and 6, talking about the upper courts and the lower courts. Common Council of the Church, this was the bishop court or the Council of Bishopric. It handled local, individual, or branch level matters, disputes, membership issues, and discipline. Higher court, or the High Council at Kirtland, presided over by the first president, It handled appeals from bishops' courts, weightier matters affecting the church. Not sure exactly what that seems to me like an actual physical structure. I'll have to study that a little bit more. If you have any thoughts or ideas on it, I'd love to hear from you. Shoot me an email, Jeffery, Jeffery, at mystreaksapp.com. But there is a pattern here, dedicated to the work of the presidency, and ye shall not suffer any unclean thing to come in unto it, and my glory shall be there, and my presence shall be there. But if there shall come in unto it any unclean thing, my glory shall not be there, and my presence shall not come into it. And again, verily I say unto you, the second lot on the south shall be dedicated unto me for the building of a house unto me, for the work of the printing of the translation of my scriptures, and all things whatsoever I shall command you. Let's go back up here to not suffering any unclean thing to come into the house, the offices of the first presidency. And why? What is important about that? Well, it's important because they're going to be receiving revelation from the Lord. And so that needs to be a holy place, a set apart place, a sanctified place. Is there a place in each one of our homes where we can accomplish that same thing? It's a good question. Something to think about. I'm going to leave you with that right there. We're still in section 94, but there's a lot to ponder on there. And then I'll come back and we'll continue to study section 94 and then into 95. Hopefully you've enjoyed this study session. A lot of questions. And I know I haven't answered the original question that I asked, but we're going to get into that as far as the building. Why buildings? What is important about a chapel? What is important about temples? Why this great grand building plan? If you'd like to shoot me an email, I'd love to hear from you. Jeffery, Jeffery, at mystreaksapp.com. Otherwise, I hope that you have a marvelous, fantastic, wonderful day. And as always, keep streaking the scriptures.